Hello, guys. Good day to everyone there. This is CA Shashank, and today I'll be taking up the first topic, which is types of finance. This video will be a short coverage of this particular topic, and we'll be soon having the exhaustive video on this particular topic. So, let's see what we have for the coverage for today. So today we'll be covering up all these things like why do business need finance, then what are various sources through which business can raise capital, the difference between equity and debt financing, what is equity financing, what is debt financing, all right. So I know these are very basic ones, but since I am making this video for commerce as well as for non-commerce background, so this will be helpful for everyone. So without wasting any time, let's get started. So let's take up our first topic of discussion. Why do business need capital? Why capital? Let's understand this with the help of an example, where our company, Valonomy, wants to expand into manufacturing business. Okay. So if it wants to expand, then definitely it will have to incur, some expenditures, right? So let's say it wants to acquire land and building, acquire land and building. Then it wants to buy machinery, then raw material, recruit workers. All these are the expenditure which the company will have to take up. But let's say if the company is not having enough capital, then definitely its expansion plan will get hampered, right? So that's the significance of capital. I mean, let's say if the company wants to expand, or let's say if it wants to scale its operations, then company should have enough capital, or else it will have to drop all those plans. So to raise capital, company will have to explore various sources of capital, various sources. Okay. So what are various sources of capital? So let's have a look. Okay, have a look at various sources of capital. So we will be classifying the source of capital into two broad categories, which is internal source and external source. Now, to think like what is internal and what is external, think it as this is from, let's say, ghar wale, right? Ghar wale. So we are taking it from internal guys, right? And think them as bahar wale. Okay, we are involving external people into funding process. So in internal source, there can be promoters. And let's say if company is exploring to issue its share, then it's like IPO process, right? There can be like shareholders involved. Then let's say if it is already listed, then it can go for follow-up public offer, FPO. Now for external source, company can go for debenture issue. Then it can explore banks, NBFCs. Then it can issue corporate bonds, etc. I mean, obviously, these two processes are like very different. So let's understand what is difference between debt and equity. Let's understand the concept of equity. In simple words, equity means ownership. Okay. Now let's understand this concept with help of an example. Since valuation is Valonomy is looking to expand, okay, and it wants 10 cr. Expansion cost is like 10 cr. Okay, so to raise this 10 cr, instead of going to banks and doing all those paperwork, I went to one of my friends. Okay, he is a friend of mine, and he's a very rich guy. He's a very rich guy. Okay, and he was like, I went to him and I was like, okay, fine. I need 10 CR for expansion, and I explained him like what are my plans and my, and I ran him through the future projections and everything, and he was like, okay, fine, let me have a look. Okay, he did his valuation part and he was like, fine, I can give you 10 CR, but for 10% share. Okay, since he's a smart guy, he wanted to get more share in my company, right? So he just undervalued my company, and he was like, okay, fine, I want 10 cr, but as per me, the valuation was, let's say, 200 cr, and I was like, no, I can give you only let's say 5%. I can only give you 5% for 10 cr. And somehow I got him in the agreement to raise this 10 cr. Okay, now let's see it this way: before and after. Okay, before raising this capital, this 10 cr, I was 100% owner. This is me. But once I raise this capital, right? Once I raise this capital, I'll have to give the chunk of my business to my friend, and I will only be left with 95%. So whenever I raise funding through internal source, okay, it will lead to dilution of my ownership. And this is how the concept of equity works. Basically, the equity portion of the existing shareholders will get reduced, and the ownership will get diluted. Okay, but this doesn't work, the same way in case of debt. So let's have a look how debt works. Now let's understand the concept of debt. Okay, debt means loan, or in Hindi it means karza lena, right? Karza. Now let's say 5 years down the line, uh, we required more funds for expansion. Let's say we need 20 cr more, and we were exploring options. As we initially did, we were exploring options for equity or debt, right? I was like, I don't want to dilute my ownership. No, I don't want to dilute my ownership, because let's say अगर मैं ज़्यादा इक्विटी इशू कर रहा हूँ, तो मेरी ओनरशिप रिड्यूस हो जाएगी. सो इट विल बी लेस देन 95%, राइट? 95% से भी नीचे गिर जाएगी. सो आई वॉज लाइक, नो, आई डोंट वॉन्ट टू गो अहेड विद द इक्विटी इशू. सो me and my friend, we both decided, let's go to bank and raise debt capital. Okay, so we went to the bank and we were like, we need 20 cr. Bankers were like, भाई मैं तुमको ऐसे कैसे दे दूँ 20 cr, right? We need your projections. We need your projections. What are your business plans and all those things. So we prepared a good document and we were like, okay, fine. These are the business plans. These are business plans. And we explained to bankers our business plan, and bankers were like, okay, fine. We will lend you 20 CR. Okay. But this 20 CR, it won't be for free, right? It won't be for free. For this, you will have to keep some collateral. Collateral as in girvi rakhna, okay? You'll have to keep some collateral, and also you'll have to pay us 10% per annum as an interest. Okay? So in here, just understand, the difference. Difference. In equity, no collateral was required, but 5% ownership was given. I mean, I had to give a 5% of my ownership to 5% ownership of the company to my friend, right? But in debt, banks need collateral, right? Let's say कल को उठ के मैं बैंक का पैसा लेके भाग गया, so then what will bank do, right? So bank will need collateral for this. Keep collateral. Also, the interest portion will be required. All right. So this is one of the major difference between equity and debt portion. So there are other few differences as well. So let's have a look at them. Now let's look at the difference between debt and equity. Okay. Debt versus equity. We should write equity, and here it's debt. Number one, ownership. So since I transferred, as we saw, like to raise 10 CR, okay, I gave up my 5% ownership to my friend, okay. So equity in short means ownership, right? But in case of debt, the money is given by the bank in lender's capacity, okay. So debt is equal to debt holder is equal to lender, right? Now the risk portion. I told my friend, let's say, boss, you took 5% of the ownership, right? Now it's not enough, okay, you'll have to take the risk as well. I mean, whatever the risk, let's say if the company is incurring loss, okay, then you will have to participate in that loss as well. I mean, you can't escape, right? But in case of debt, okay, bankers will be like, no participation in risk. Those guys will be like, we want our principal and our interest money. That's it. Principal plus interest. And we are done. We won't be participating in your risk since we have, given you fund in lender's capacity. So no participation in risk. And this is what we want, right? The third difference is, profit sharing. Now, after a few years, we started making profit, and my friend was like, you told me, I'll have to participate in risk. Now since we are making profit, I'll be participating in profit as well. I was like, yes, we will be participating. Yes, you will be participating in profit as well, right? But bankers, when they saw, I mean, we are making profit, but I was like, no, boss, you guys won't be participating in the profit sharing, since you said you just want interest and principal. So no profit sharing for you guys. No profit sharing, right? And the fourth difference is, let's say, the return. Okay, return. It's dividend. Let's say forget about my friend. Okay, let's say my company is listed. Okay, my company is listed, and my shareholders. Okay, let's say if I'm making huge profit and I decided to give announce dividend. Okay, so my shareholders will be participating in the dividend, but for the shareholders. But let's say my shareholders, let's say they decided to sell shares, so there can be capital gains. Okay, even this can be the form of return to my shareholders, right? But for debt holders, only the interest portion will be in the form of return. Only the interest portion. Only interest portion. Yeah. So as we saw, ownership. Um, just a second. Ownership is equal to risk, but more return. Whereas debt is equal to safe play, but restricted return. Okay, so yeah, so this was basically the difference between debt and equity. So let's understand, whether we should be what is favorable, like whether to raise debt, equity, or like how it should go. So let's evaluate what is more favorable for a company. Okay, more favorable, like whether it is debt or equity or combo. Okay, understand it from by taking an example. See, whatever we will be doing, we will be just taking up an example, and we'll keep it more practical. Okay, so let's understand scenario number one. Like this is like debt. Let's say this guy, he is a banker. Okay, he is a banker. He's a banker, and my company, they went to him and they were like, sir, we want 20 cr. Okay, they're like 20 cr, 20 cr chahiye mujhe, right? Now this banker, he had a look into their balance sheet. Okay, this is balance sheet of Valonomy, and they were like, boss, they have 60% debt to total capital. Means let's say the total capital is 100 rupees. मतलब इनके पास अगर 100 रुपया है, उसमें से 60 rupees तक तो इन्होंने कर्जा ही लिया है, right? Now the banker saw it as a risky affair, right? And the bankers were like, I mean, why do you want to raise more money through debt, right? Because you have already taken so much of debt, right? They were like, no, we want to expand and all those stories, and they were like, okay, fine, and they somehow convinced this banker, okay, and the banker agreed. They were like, okay, fine, I will be giving you 20 cr, okay, he will be giving them 20 cr, okay, but the interest charged will be, let's say, 30%. And the company was like, oops, 30% is too much, right? 30% is too much. It's like way too high, right? Now the banker was like, yes, it is high, but look at your debt to capital ratio, right? I mean, you are highly levered. So high debt is equal to high risk. So high interest charged. Okay, now let's come here. Okay, so let's say if company is raising more capital, let's say company is raising increasing its debt capital, then interest will go up. If the interest is going up, then the total cost of capital, we will cover this concept in a later video, but just for your information, cost of capital is basically basically the cost. I mean, uh, what company incurs, okay, what the company has to pay to raise the capital, right? Just in plain language, कंपनी को इतना पैसा देना है कैपिटल रेज करने के लिए, सिंपल एज दैट. ओके, now the total cost of capital will go up. Okay, let's say if COC goes up and company is not making enough profit, let's say profit is, let's say 25%, and but COC is, let's say 30%. Okay, then company is not making enough profit, so it means that company's business will be hampered, right? And it will be like shut down in future. Okay, so raising debt is a risky affair. More debt, more risk, right? So now the company was like, okay, fine, I don't want to go with this debt thing. Now let's explore equity option. Okay, this was scenario 1. Now let's explore scenario 2. Let's say I found another friend of mine when he's a rich man, and he was like, company was like, okay, fine, we want 20 cr, okay, but this friend is more smart. Okay, he's smarter than the earlier one, right? So he was like, I will give you 20 cr, but I want, let's say, 30% share in your company. The company was, the company wanted to expand. Okay, company wanted to expand, and there were like opportunities, but since he was expecting 30%, so my share will, like, let's say my current share, which is 95%, and my friend's share, which is like 5%. Okay, it will both go down. Okay, basically it will lead to dilution of shares, which we both don't want, right? And we don't want this. We were like, okay, fine, I mean, let's say if we are giving this guy 30%, and that too for 20 cr, and this is like an undervaluation happening, right? And there are like opportunities, so we don't want to forego our share. All right, so we were like, no, if we are going ahead with dilution, let's say if we are increasing our equity, if we are increasing if we are raising capital, if we are raising capital through equity, then it will lead to dilution. Then dilution will happen, and we don't want it, okay? So now, to summarize these both scenarios, if we are going only for debt or only for equity, okay, it will have, some negative consequences. I mean, let's say more debt, more risk, but let's say if we are raising more fund through equity, then it will lead to dilution, right? Now, what should we explore? Now the only option left is combination of both, right? But combination of both in what proportion? This thing we will be covering in our another video, where we'll be having a look at capital structure theory, and so on. But for this video, just understand the capital structure should be optimal. Okay, it should be optimal, where overall cost of capital, let's say weighted average cost of capital, overall WACC is low. All right, just for this video, we'll be having uh, a look at this concept from 30,000 feet. Just understand, overall cost of capital should be low. That's it. So more debt, more equity, no, there should be combination of both, and we should be aiming to reduce the overall cost of capital. So that's it. So in our other video, we will be having a look at the concept of WACC, and also we will be touching upon WACC, and we'll also be touching upon the concept of capital structure. Capital structure. Please excuse my handwriting. I'll try to improve it in future videos. But yes, so this is our agenda for upcoming videos. So stay connected, and thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Thanks a lot.